Welcome to All Things Mental,
a podcast that honors the messy, beautiful, nonlinear journey of healing. Because healing isn't about fixing what's broken.
It's about discovering what you need in this moment and learning to trust yourself along the way.
Here, we share stories, resources, and reminders that you're never alone on your path.
So take a breath, lean in, and remember,
you are not broken.
You're just becoming a more beautiful version of your higher self. We're your co-hosts, Michelle
and Leanna,
here to remind you that
you're never alone
on your healing journey. Hello and welcome back to All Things Mental. This episode is going to be about all things boundaries. So what exactly is a boundary for you? What's your definition if you were to define it, Leanna? What's a boundary?
A boundary is a simple request that requires both parties to be engaged in a common understanding. And that's basically it.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with that. I think the only thing I want to add on is like sometimes you have to set boundaries with yourself, even for like work or like what time you're going to go to bed at night, like your non-negotiables in your routines, kind of like what we discussed in last week's episode.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
Cool. When do you think you started like realizing? Well, let me start with this because I personally did not know what a boundary was until I started my healing journey. Like I remember talking to my best friend and telling her that I set a boundary with my dad. And mind you, when I first set boundaries with my dad and my brother, I wasn't nice about it. I was like, this is how it's going to go, whether you like it or not. And now I'm at a point with at least my dad where there's an understanding for our boundaries. But I was very toxic about my boundaries at first because getting back to the story with my friend, I remember telling her I set a boundary with my dad and my brother, and they got really upset about it, which is going to happen when you set boundaries because God forbid you have the audacity to be like, this isn't working for me in my mental health, or this isn't working for me in my schedule, so there needs to be a boundary here. I remember her saying to me, Michelle, your dad wouldn't know what a boundary was if it slapped him in the face. And I laughed. You can laugh. You're covering your mouth. I love you. Go ahead and laugh. It is funny because that's so true. And I was like, yeah, you have a really good point. And honestly, through me learning about boundaries and setting them, my parents didn't like it at first. But now we're in a really good place. And actually, Thanksgiving was actually awesome.
Good. No, that's really important. I feel that too in a deep truth and extent. Just in the fact that like my, very special to my story, needing to set boundaries very early on in my life with my parents because of because of the engagement, rejection and all the things that I've already shared on the podcast episode so far. But in general, I mean, I had to teach them how to treat me as an adult.
Yeah, I have the same exact thing with my parents. Like I've mentioned this before, I have a complicated relationship with them. But honestly, at this point, it's not necessarily even complicated. It is what it is. But like we have a very good understanding now, I want to say. But at the same time, like it took me setting the boundaries for them to be like, oh, okay, she's being serious. She means this. Because the first time ever in my life, when I went to my parents' house this past Thanksgiving, I didn't feel like I was 16 arguing with my parents.
Ooh.
Like I didn't feel like I was a 16-year-old. I felt like I was an adult and I was treated as such.
Yes.
It was so nice.
Yes.
Boundaries might take time, but they're so worth it.
Totally. I agree. Yeah. I mean, this year, I think I've alluded to this in another episode or so, but I had like a family emergency earlier in the year and like midway through the year, I'd say in 2025. And that was when my parents were looking to me for like, how do we navigate this? And I feel like it was at that point where they finally realized that I'm an adult and that I'm somebody that knows what they're
Yeah,
talking about
I think
and
honestly for me, it was
how
the
to
same
live.
thing. It was about probably last year, so November 2024, when the whole thing went down with between my dad and my brother. And I'm not going to go into specifics, but essentially, my brother called me and told me what happened, and I was like, I'm not going because I was still talking to him at the time. I'm not gonna. And I told him, I'm not. I heard your side. I want to hear mom and dad's side before I pick a side or decide to be neutral. So I heard my parents' side of the story, and they were asking me for like advice, or at least that's how it seemed. And I remember feeling like, okay, they see me as an adult. Like, I know I'll always be their little girl, and that's fine. But they saw me as an adult, and they're like, what should we do? And I'm like, honestly, you need to do this, 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 and this, because what he did is uncalled for. And my parents since then have had to set a boundary with him.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Like,
I
to a voice note a couple days ago to rant about something my mom had done. And I talked to her about it, like when I did call her the next day. And just to give all of our listeners like a little bit of insight on it, since you know you're not in mine and Leanna's private DMs, but like I had gotten a text from my mom letting me know that my dad was out of the hospital and that he was fine. And then she called me to give me some advice for that. She wanted advice or wanted to tell me something for herself. She wanted to give me an update on her health. And I picked up the phone thinking my dad was no longer okay because he had just gone out of the ER. So that's why I picked up. And then my mom has a tendency that when you call her or try to talk to her, she doesn't say hello. She just goes right into what she's trying to say. And I was like, Mom, I don't have the mental energy for this right now. Can we please talk about this tomorrow? I promise I'll call you. So I made a promise I'd call her in the morning. And my mom kind of ignored it and just started telling me. And I'm like, Mom, I just told you I do not have the mental energy for this. And I'm not doing it to be mean. I want to be able to actually hear you, understand you, and give you like what I'm actually thinking versus this low energy version of me. We're not talking about this tonight. I will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye. And I hung up.
wow.
I sat there for a minute, very annoyed. And that's when I text you. I'm like, can I vent for a second?
Yeah. No, I get it. It's hard to understand what a boundary is, and then it's even harder to execute the boundary because
Exactly.
typically the people in our lives who we need to set boundaries with are deeply rooted in their ways, and they don't know how to properly exist as an emotionally mature adult. So they take it personal, and then they don't realize that it's basically how the person wants to be treated, not that it has anything really. It's a
You have to
solo
like
event.
figure out the way you want to word it. It's like saying, you make me feel. No, I feel this way because don't make it about the other person, make it about yourself. Because again, we've talked about this on the podcast before, and I know we'll talk about it again. It's okay to be selfish. I'm not saying cut in front of somebody to get your drink before they do. That's rude. I'm saying you can be selfish in the sense of protecting your peace, and that's huge. Like I mentioned earlier, I did not set boundaries in a healthy manner at first, and it took a long journey. When me and my husband were getting married, I remember calling my parents because we eloped, me and my husband, and saying to them like, you guys didn't call me or text me to like wish me and hubby, or he wasn't my hubby at the time but soon to be hubby, like a congratulations, because we had made the decision to elope for reasons. And my dad was like, no, I'm not going, I don't support this. And I was just like, okay. So I just didn't talk to them. We got married in October. I got a letter from my dad in January or maybe February. I don't really know. It was really, really long. I remember wanting to respond right then and there, but I took a step back, and both my roommate at the time and my husband were both like, you just need to ignore him, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, no, I think I need to respond with a letter. But I'm going to go back to therapy. That way I can respond in a respectful manner and have an outside person's opinion on the perspective on this, because I do not need you guys helping me write this letter. I love you both to death, but you're both team Michelle, and I cannot have you guys be a part of this. Like, I just need you to love and support me right now. And they did, because that's the kind of relationship I have with both my former roommate and my husband. So I wrote a letter. I sent it to him, and I was really, really dreading, like, oh my God, is he going to respond with another letter? He didn't respond with another letter. He sent me a text. It was like literally like a sentence. And it's like, I got your letter. I would really like us to meet up to talk because I see your point. And the reason why I wrote the letter is because my dad has a tendency, and this is probably where I get it from, for being honest, where he will always say what he's thinking, and he will cut people off. Like, when I'm talking to my dad, I will cross my fingers. Or if I'm talking to anybody and I want to remember a thought, a coworker taught me this once. They were like, cross your fingers whenever you have a thought in your head and kind of like look at the thought, and it'll like have you hold on to it. And that's helped me over the years. But I knew if I wrote him a letter, I wouldn't get cut off. So that's why I did the letter. And now things are really good between the two of us. And I attempted the same thing with my brother, going to therapy with him and having a mediator there, but it didn't work out. And I found out at Thanksgiving that apparently he told my parents, oh, well, she only went to therapy because you guys asked her to. Well, yeah, that is true. But I stopped talking to him because it just wasn't working out. It wasn't. He doesn't respect me. He still sees me as his little sister, and that's great, but I'm also an adult. I'm a teacher, and I have students that behave better than me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is tough, because I think it all comes down to the emotional maturity piece of
Absolutely.
of how well somebody can respect a boundary. There was a time in 2019 that I had to go no contact with my parents for like 2 months, and I eventually brought back some, you know, attention with them and everything. Like, I think I accidentally like butt dialed my mom and then had to like had to kind of like break the silence. And I remember ignoring.
You laughed at one of my stories. I laughed at one of yours.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. And then I had to ignore a text from my dad. Like, it was the same kind of thing. Like, it just it was really hard. And they eventually got it.
Yeah.
And then over the years, we've had to rebuild this relationship that we now have. And we now are able to talk and have support with each other. I still don't go to them for like day-to-day things that I need support with. Like, when I felt really lonely a few weeks ago, or like a month ago at this point, and like I needed just some extra help and everything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go to them for that, but I like have this general sense of acceptance of like our relationship, and then how we can move forward with it and everything. And the boundaries are in place. Like, they know what not to say and what not to do.
My brother texted me. This is when I like finally blocked him. I didn't block him right after everything that happened. I waited probably a couple of weeks, but I was out at my favorite restaurant with some friends, and I got a text from him. And my husband's best friend, who's super protective of me, just like my husband is, could tell I was off. And I was like, I just got a text from my brother, and I'm kind of annoyed, and I'm done with him, but I don't know what to say. And he was like, may I? He took my phone and he texted him this whole thing. And I said to him, do not send it until I read it. And he was like, that's fine. So I read it. I'm like, perfect. And I hit send. And I got a response back from my brother essentially telling me off. And I basically said to him, I was being really honest with you the way you have been with me your whole life. And I told my dad, I'm not talking to him, blah, 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 blah. And my dad's response was, that's fine. And then I said, okay, even if you let him back in, please don't ever ask me to do the same. And he essentially said, that's fine. And I took a screenshot of that. That way, if God forbid my dad ever tries, I'm like, no, I have proof. Okay. There's no date on this, but I guarantee you the data of the text has a date. But no, he's out of my life, and that's the boundary. We stopped talking originally, me and my brother, in 2020, when the riots were happening for Black Lives Matter. And I had the realization that I have white privilege. And I was talking to my brother about it, and he's like, no, we don't, Michelle. We don't have white privilege. I'm like, yes, we do. And I gave him an example of a time where if I was Black, I probably would have been arrested, tackled, or shot. And I said, we have the privilege of the color of our skin, and that really freaking sucks. Like, I hate it when people say, I don't see color. Okay, well then you're part of the problem.
Yeah, no, it's a really tough world that we live in, with that kind of thing. Just how people don't get it and also choose to be ignorant.
You have to see it, but you also have to, like my favorite quote, have courage, be kind. Just be kind anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that quote. That really
like, I want to get that tattooed on me. I really do. Like, I've been craving ink so badly.
Hey, I'm saying when I have money, I'm going to do this.
I have to be a responsible adult. The last time I got a tattoo was with it wasn't with my best friend. I like One Piece, so I have Chopper tattooed on my ankle. He's doing the hiding thing. It's really cute because the way Chopper hides is not the way you're supposed to hide. Like if my microphone were a pole, you know how you hide about it like this? No, he hides like this, leaning against it. It's hysterical.
That's so nice.
It is. It's really cute. But yeah, no, boundaries are so important. And I think that everybody needs to set them, even with people in your life that, aren't your parents or your siblings. Like, I have boundaries. Me and my husband have boundaries. Me and my best friends have boundaries. One of my boundaries with one of my best friends is that if we really need to talk to each other, we will text each other and say, hey, call me when you have a chance. But if we need to let them know, hey, I need you right now. My best friend found this on I think an Instagram reel. Hey, do you have 7 minutes? That is our way of telling them, hey, I need you like right now. So can you call me? Because it shouldn't take that long for me to tell you what I need to tell you. So that's like our rule and our boundary, because like whenever she calls me or I called her prior to this, we would just pick up and be like, I'm really busy right now. Can we talk about this later? Like, or can you just text me? So we came up with that boundary for our friendship.
Yeah, no, that it like I said in the beginning with my definition of just like it being a simple request that both parties have an agreement on. Yeah, like
it's a simple request. And if the other party doesn't like it, that's their problem, not yours.
Exactly.
Just be nice about the way you go about doing it, because I remember the first time I set boundaries, I was like, this is happening because of you. Like, I did what I said earlier. So I have learned from my mistakes. And now, again, I have good boundaries with my parents, good boundaries with my friends, good boundaries with my husband. So,
yeah, no, that's really important. I remember one of the big lessons I learned in like health class, like that I still remember, was the fact that when you have like a disagreement or like just some sort of it was just like I don't even know why it was health class related, but nevertheless, I remember it as this like amazing communication tool to use I statements. And that I think is really important for boundary setting as well, because it's I want to be treated this way. And they can then
do what they will.
Exactly. They can then interpret it as, well, are you saying that I do that? No, I am having this feeling because
Yeah.
actually you don't even need to say why. You know, the codependent in me is like, oh, because this, that, and the other thing. But like we don't need to say why. It's just a simple request that both parties have an understanding about, and then you just uphold it. Every time the boundary line gets crossed, it's no, no, no. We had this agreement. This is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes.
Yeah, no, I full-heartedly agree with you. So you reminded me of something when you made the comment that you just made about like it's for them and if they make an assumption, so be it. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you probably read this before because oh my God, we're talking about Mary again. Um Mary's Cup of Tea, which is the reason why that we met. But have you ever read the book The Four Agreements: A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom by
Yeah.
Don Miguel Ruiz? Okay. So I have that's probably the only self-help book that I have read more than once. I probably have read it at least twice now at this point. But essentially, for those of you who are listening and you've never read it before, the four agreements are: be impeccable with your words, speak with integrity, say what you mean, and avoid using words to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Don't take anything personal, which can be hard. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want, and always do your best. And I always take the last one as you're human. You might have a moment where you on accident make an assumption or you take something personally. That's part of the human experience, doing all of those things. But I think the always do your best is essentially giving yourself grace to know, okay, I can try again starting right now. You don't got to wait till tomorrow. It's not a bad day, it's a bad moment.
Yeah. No, I love that. She has um her retreat guests read that book
That's what I
before
thought.
attending the retreat. Yeah, I think she alternates books every so often because I think my retreat was oh man, what is it called? It's by Pablo Coelho. The um
Oh, so it's not by the same author. For some reason, I thought the other book by him was by the same author, and I completely forgot about it. I meant to grab the book before we started recording, but it's in my room. So I just like
mhm.
literally went to Google and typed in the four names.
Yeah,
I always don't remember them off the top of my head. I know it's I always remember the do not assume. I always remember that one.
yeah. Oh, The Alchemist. The
Yes,
Alchemist
I
is
haven't
the
read that
one.
one.
You haven't or have?
I have not.
Oh, I could send it to you because that book is also like I read it in high school, like before going into my senior year of high school. That was like our summer reading book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really uh, I put a quote on my college um you know uh cap, like the
Oh
custom
yeah,
cap.
yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I put a quote on there that says, if I can remember it right now, let's see. The universe, when you want something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it.
Oh, I love that. Say that one more time.
When you want something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Amen.
all about
Oh, it
manifesting
is. Oh,
things.
yeah, absolutely. And honestly,
Yeah.
something that I just remembered, I remember when I did therapy with my brother, we he told me that he read the Four Agreements and I got a little bit hopeful, but he read it for like work. He's not applying that to his personal life. He's applying that to his work life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ugh,
The
yeah,
way
that
that
doesn't sound good.
wait, per perspective, point of view, depends on the person.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's how some people can use things for like I'm not saying that I don't know your brother or your story too much, but in terms of like what I can get just based on what you're saying, it almost sounds like there's like a sense of manipulation there that
Oh,
like
absolutely.
yeah, that
Absolutely.
like
I have
people
been
just
told
want
by
certain things.
many of my therapists that he's not exactly the nicest person. They use a specific word. I just don't want it out there on the internet.
No, I get it. It's totally okay.
It's a
Um,
boundary.
yeah. No, I get it. And yeah, no, that's super important to have. the boundaries also with like our last episode being routine, like how we talk about you know, our own relationship with technology and our phones and things like that. Like that's a whole other thing too, you know, what we put out there on the internet. Like I know for a fact that I had this inner relationship with myself where I used to want so much to get attention from the outside world that I would post, you know, whatever was on my heart, whatever was on my mind, assuming no one would see it because I was just like, no one cares about me. Like, I'm just going to post this. But then, like, people actually see it in your life and they may not like it, like
Yeah.
physically like the video or the post or whatever, but they see it and it's out
Oh,
there.
yeah,
And
absolutely. Like, have you ever seen that, like, quote, how many people view your stories on, like, Instagram or wherever? And how many people comment or heart things? Like, there's a difference. Like, you probably get 1 to 2 comments for every post or whatever. Maybe you get more and good for you. But if more people are viewing your story, that's like people are watching, but they're not saying anything. It's a beautiful way to honestly look at it. It's not really like necessarily even beautiful. It's a reality check of everybody's watching to see when you mess up. Like, I don't really usually post that often on my social media. The only time that I'm really on social media now is when I'm posting for the podcast. But like for me, when I want to mindlessly scroll, I now will scroll on Instagram's like For You page for our podcast because it's newer and I get less like, you know, things I don't want to see or whatever or what have you. This friend of mine that I met through the workout program that I did, she suggested to another friend of ours, because we have a group chat between just the 3 of us, where like the girl wants to take a break from social media. She's like, why don't you just like go through and like unfollow or like mute anybody that you don't really want on your feed anymore? And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And I haven't done that in a while. That's something I'll probably do over like winter break. But like for me, I only recently stopped mindlessly scrolling because of a hypnosis that I started listening to, that I was like, I'm so over this mindlessly scrolling life. Like I want it done. Like I know, I don't remember who it was, but someone said in an interview, I know it was a celebrity, I just don't remember who it was, that they have replaced mindlessly scrolling with like craft, like projects. And I'm like, that's such a good idea. But again, that's the luxury of being a celebrity and having, you know, all the money in the world that you can in fact do that. Like I don't have enough spoons. I've talked about this before. When I get home to do my Legos, like Monday, I didn't need to do a reset. Yesterday I did, and today I also didn't really need to do a reset. And I because like resets can vary from day to day. With those of us who have ADHD, like resetting is such a game changer. But like this right now, having this conversation with you, that feels like a reset for me.
oh, I'm so glad. That's really amazing. Yeah, I love that so much. It's really important that we are aware and are happy with everything that we're doing as best as we can, you know, and acknowledging the times that we're not happy, you know. That's like an own self boundary. Like when I got my new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, like I feel like I've been less like, even though this phone is incredible, like it literally opens up and it like
Oh yeah, my aunt has that phone. That's the one I want to get next. Like when I get a new phone, I'm getting that one because that's basically like a mini tablet. It's great.
yeah, I'm
Sorry to
obsessed
iPhone
with it.
people, but I don't like iPhones.
No, sorry, not sorry. Like I was an iPhone person
Sorry,
for
not
like
sorry. Hey,
over 10
you
years.
were team iPhone. I remember you text me and were like, "Hey, how do you feel about Samsung?" And I think I sent you like a voice note. I'm like, "Oh, well, let me tell you, honey."
Yeah, no,
And I
it's
convinced you. What's
yeah.
funny is my husband, the only reason why he has an iPhone is because back when he went to go get a smartphone, the girl that sold it to him was being flirtatious. And this was like years ago. Like I'm talking like 10, 15 years ago, which is insane. The iPhone's been around probably that
Wow.
long. But yeah.
No, I totally it's funny because I just feel like I'm less attached to this device. Like I feel like the Android sounds are like they're so cheerful and amazing. Like I remember I remember saving a Samsung like audio for a text tone on my iPhone like years ago, like when I was in high school. And I was like, I love this. So I'm just so happy to be a
It
Samsung
was
owner.
meant
And
to be. This wasn't
it
the
was
time.
totally meant to be. It was meant to happen, like to be on Windows and PC and Xbox, like all the things this year that I've switched
So
to.
for me, it's weird. Like I don't like Xbox, and I think it might be because when I was younger, my brother was like, "Let's buy an Xbox together," and I paid for half of it. He paid for half of it, and we were supposed to share it. When he moved out, he took the Xbox with him, and I
Oh,
asked him for my half back, and he wouldn't give it to me.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
upsetting.
we're a PlayStation household. We have a PlayStation and a Switch. Like I mentioned before, we're a gaming household. So when we're both home, we'll both be gaming. But when he's not home, I have the best of both worlds. I have like a TV show on the top TV or the bottom TV, and I'm gaming on the other one. Because like most of the time when I game, I just want background noise. So I'll put on like an anime I've seen like a million times, or I'll put on like a Disney movie or whatever.
Cool. Yeah, I've always loved video games, and it just feels so nice to like have this new connection with life where like I don't need to be mindlessly scrolling. I don't need to be like even the notifications, like having a clean lock screen
I
unless you like
love your
oh
your
my winter background.
yes on it.
I
You need to
can
send
send it
me.
to you.
Yes,
Yeah,
please do.
I will.
It's
um
so,
but
oh my
yeah,
goodness.
like we don't like I don't need to like the iPhone used to like it would just be cluttered with like all your notifications, and like I like that you can swipe and have your notification center. I know that things are customizable and I'm still learning about the phone, but like all in all, like I'm just so happy that like that has been my own new boundary with like technology in terms of like who do I answer to and what do I do, and like I I work and I don't check my phone most of the day. Like I check it on lunch, and then
Check
it's
my
just really nice to be present in life, like and not need the
Oh,
phone.
absolutely. And for me, like I'm the same way when it comes to work. The only time that I'm really on it is when I am like turning off an alarm that's going off to remind me this or that. But at this point, I don't really need the alarm unless it's like for pick the kids up, time for recess, time for lunch, pick the kids up from lunch. Other than that, the day flows pretty well and pretty quickly. Like I used to be so like strategic about it, but like, okay, 20 minutes for this group, and then no matter what, we gotta go to the next group. But like some groups need more than 20 minutes at my small group table, some need less. So I don't set a time limit on it. That's something I've learned as a teacher. And I didn't really set boundaries with work until 2020 because pandemic. And I kind of had to force myself to because I had to communicate with parents through my phone, and they didn't get my personal cell phone number. They got a Google cell number that I had like through like Google Call or whatever it is. And my rule with them was they were not allowed to call me. They could text me and be like, hey, can you please call me? I want to talk to you about this assignment. And I did. And all the parents respected it. And it got to the point where I had to set a boundary at home because like home became where I worked. And so I wound up having to be like, okay, I'm done right at this time. And if I wasn't out and about, my husband would come in and be like, hey, he'd help me.
Mm,
So,
that's great. I
yeah.
love when people support our boundaries that are important in our life.
Have
It's
you ever
it's
just set a boundary with your husband that like was hard for you or hard for him?
um
Whether he said it with you and it kind of like made you upset at first or vice versa?
I'm trying to think. I think like whenever we've had like an argument or something, which are very few and far between.
Yeah, same. And most of the
But
time it's just a conversation. It's not really like fighting. It's an
yeah.
argument. Like we've only ever gotten into like an actual fight maybe once or twice. We've been together like almost 8 years.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think it was mostly about like, hey, when we're talking about something that's sensitive in our life, like I want to have undivided attention and not like have
Yeah,
like us be on our phones or like a TV on or something. Like I want undivided attention when there's something that is deeply upsetting that I need to bring up and
yeah,
that kind of thing. Like that's where that boundary has come in. And I don't think it was uncomfortable for him. I think it was just something like, okay, I totally get that. And but then like me having to like check and be like, yes, this is the boundary continuing to
yeah.
go forward.
We have a boundary that when we are on date nights, we're not allowed to have our phones out unless we're going to take a picture. But like it's been a minute since we've taken a picture together because we're now both so good about being present and being in the moment that like we forget to. And so, I mean, that's kind of nice, but also too like we have a boundary. We went to sleep with we went to sleep angry at each other once. We hated it. We woke up. We neither one of us got a good night's sleep. And we made a rule right then from then on out to never do it again.
Yeah. No, that's important.
Like even if we just talk about it really quickly and make sure and say we're okay, I need that. Like anytime that we have a disagreement, that's something that he has to do, and that comes from my situationship. But something that I absolutely love about my partner is that he is one of the most understanding souls on this planet, and he will reassure me. Like I remember when we first started dating, he said, anytime you need me to reassure you that I'm not going anywhere, I will. If we've been together a week, if we've been together 10 years, I don't care, baby. I will remind you again, I'm not going anywhere. And I needed that a lot in the beginning. And now I don't need it as much. Like I no longer am waiting for the shoe to drop. So
Mm,
nice.
wow. That's so powerful. Like, look at that. That's such growth.
Seriously, because like this is coming from a person that was in a very toxic situationship. And I remember like my parents did the best they could raising me and my brother, but like I also grew up with my dad and my mom fighting about money, my mom and my dad fighting about this, my mom and my dad fighting about that. And my husband has only ever raised his voice to me once. There was a situation with our oven and it was hot, but it hadn't been used in a couple of hours. So me and my roommate were kind of freaking out and we needed him to like get it, unplug it because we all had to leave for work. We didn't want the house set on fire and lose the house and lose the cat.
Mhm.
So I was like, I am not looking forward to waking him up. He's not a morning person. So I went to go wake him up and like, I mean, I probably could have been nicer about it, but I was like freaking out. So I was in my fight or flight headspace versus like rational. And when
Mhm.
I woke him up and he went to go do it, he pulled it out of the wall. He's like, there, it's done. And then he went to go get ready. And I remember my roommate telling him off because they didn't appreciate it. And me, it took me a minute to process. And he was leaving for work because he had to leave before me. And I went out there and I said to him, I just want to say that I love you. We are talking about this when you get home and when I get home. But the way you behaved in there reminded me of my father and my dad. I love you. Have a good day at work. And I went back inside. And that was like a boundary I had to set with him. Like I needed him to know you just crossed a line. And I did. And he's never ever done it again. And granted, like he was stressed at work because when me and him had a heart to heart, and then he had a heart to heart with our roommate. Like he had them separate, not together.
Nice.
And yeah, like seriously, like most guys would be like, all right, we'll just do one, like get it over with. Like he's very in touch with his feelings, even though he won't, admit it. And he's getting better at sharing his feelings because it's a boundary he needed time to like process and get through. But yeah,
Mhm.
like, he's never ever done that like again. But like he was really, really stressed at work. And that's not an excuse. And that was like a reality check for him of like, okay, I just treated my wife who's one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, and one of my best friends, like, we both come from a family where we got yelled at a lot when we were kids, me and my roommate. So like he realized that in that moment he wasn't our safe space, and that was a reality check for him, and he fixed it, and we've never had an issue like since then when it comes to like him yelling.
Yeah, that's good. That's important. Yeah, thankfully we've never raised voices at each other. I think I've been I would before I was like medicated and stuff and like I had a lot of stress and everything, like I was sometimes a little bit like just abrupt and like loud and like
Of course.
not like not regulated. But now that
like
I'm
some
regulated,
sorry.
no, it's okay. Now that I'm like regulated and like healthy,
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Something that my partner teacher, like, because me and my partner teacher talk like all the time. We were on the phone and she was telling me something that happened over Thanksgiving break. And like she said to me, you know how you and I talk with our hands and we're very passionate, and like people may take it as yelling, but we're not actually yelling. We're just being really passionate about what we're saying. I'm like, yeah. And it like made me realize, yeah, she has a really good point. Like, it's not necessarily that we're yelling. We're just so passionate about what we're saying that sometimes we just get so excited. Like emotion comes out through tone. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, I get it. Energy in motion.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode. Uh, Set boundaries. It's scary. And if you want or need advice from, someone who's been through it, message us on Instagram or on TikTok. But until next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to this episode of All Things Mental.
Please follow us on social media at All Things Mental Podcast to let us know how this episode helped you on your healing journey.
Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss an episode.
And remember,
you are not broken.
You're just becoming a more beautiful version
of your higher self.